Commissioner Miller, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it, and I'm so glad you're okay. I just want to ask you, what's going through your mind right now? You know, this happened just hours ago. How are you sort of processing all this?
Well, as a statewide elected official, something like this is always on your mind. I get death threats all the time. Normally, I'm armed. I wasn't yesterday because, they don't allow weapons into the rally. And this guy didn't go through security. He was off premises on top of a nearby building, about 130 yards away from what I understand. So it wasn't a lapse in, checking, people that coming into the rally. I was there, front row, 30 feet from President Trump when the shooting started. I heard a pop. I thought it was fireworks. By the third one, I realized it was gunfire. So I turned and looked at President Trump. Just was hit. He still had that puzzled look on his face, like I had, trying to figure out what's going on, where's it coming from, and then the fourth shot struck him in the side of the head, and he immediately went down to the floor of the platform. Secret Service rushed up on the stage. Then was three more shots rang out. I kept standing. I was looking for the shooter, trying to find this person doing the shooting. Of course, I didn't know he was not at the venue. Everybody around me was either on the ground or kneeling down or crouching. When the shooting stopped, I started looking around to see if anyone was hurt. There was a gentleman behind me that was struck in the head. He died. A lady was hit in the chest. She's still in critical condition. And then I just spoken to Congressman Ronnie Jackson's nephew. He was behind me, and he got struck in the neck, but it was superficial. I don't think he even had to go to the hospital. So three people directly behind me were hit from the collateral fire of the assassin.
In the moments leading up to those gunshots, was there anything out of the ordinary at all, or was it just a normal rally?
It was a normal rally. Of course, I've been to many of them, and nothing different about this one. Trump was his usual self, going off script a little bit here and there. The crowd was worked up. Typical farm. Trump was about an hour late getting on stage. He's supposed to go on at 5. It was 6 before he came out. So it was the usual rally. Nothing different about it, really.
And you alluded to this a moment ago, but describe what you saw and heard in that moment. Did it sound like gunfire? Did you realize it was gunfire at first? What did you see and hear?
I didn't at first, but by the third shot, I realized what it was, that it was gunfire. But it wasn't very loud. I thought it had to be like a small caliber 22 pistol or something. I thought it was coming from the camera pit because I was scanning the crowd, and there was, no gunman in the crowd. All of the camera people were on the ground, crouched down. I couldn't really see them that well. But come to find out, the reason it wasn't very loud, it was off the property. It was, 130 yards away. I did not. What concerned me is I did not hear a Secret Service weapon discharge. Of course, it would have been very loud that close to me. It would have been a 9mm 45, something that has a real loud report. That never happened. So I thought the gunman was getting away, or hadn't been apprehended. But come to find out, it was a sniper that took him out. And of course, they have suppressors on those rifles. You wouldn't hear them shoot anyway. That's what it was.
How many shots did you hear?
I heard 7. Yeah, I heard 7.
And just what happened in those moments afterwards? Obviously, we all saw the video of the Secret Service swarming the stage there. What was it like, though, being just feet away from that? What was happening?
Well, I was probably 2 foot away from a Secret Service agent that had drawn his weapon. And, I was trying to help him, spot the individual. There was people yelling, but they were mainly yelling for medical help for the wounded. Women were crying. People were, still crouched down, not unsure if the shooter had been apprehended or not. We didn't know that. I thought there might have been possibly more than one. Of course, I was wrong there. Later found out. But when it finally calmed down, the security detail did an excellent job of controlling the crowd. There was no wholesale panic or stampeding or anything like that. People remained calm and collected and exited the event, or in an orderly fashion.
What was the demeanor of former President Trump like? It looked like he obviously was shocked and stunned at first, but seeming to, try and reassure the crowd. What was that like to see him in those moments after he was injured?
Well, he did get up. I was glad to see that. I thought he'd probably took 2 or 3 body shots, but he got up. Secret Service, are body shielding him, but he managed to raise his hand, a fist above that, did some, some fist pumps and waved at the crowd and was yelling, "Keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting." Of course, crowd responded, chanting "USA, USA," and they whisked him off the stage to get medical help after them.
So was everyone kind of swiftly evacuated after the former president was brought out?
No, the president had left, and we remained there a while. They were still trying to assess the situation and see if there was still a shooter in the crowd, but they identified that, finally figured out that they had taken the shooter down, and then after that, they just the crowd dispersed.
We're learning more about the suspect now, a 20-year-old man from, I guess, that area of Pennsylvania. Authorities found bomb-making materials in his car, in his home. What's sort of your reaction to what we're learning about that suspected shooter?
Well, to me, he's not a suspected shooter. He's an assassin. That was his purpose of being there. He's obvious to me a mentally disturbed individual, which is sad. We have way too much mental illness in this country. He obviously didn't get the help that he needed. This has been, something that's been on my mind for quite some time. I've established my own mental health hotline for agriculture people. It's called the Agri-Stress Helpline. So we have specially trained people that can help people in agriculture. But this hopefully anything good comes out of this. It'll bring awareness to our mental health problems that we have in this country.
I mean, what's your takeaway from all this? The fact that it was in a political context, the first assassination attempt on a president or a presidential candidate, at least at this level, since President Reagan back in 1981. Obviously, the temperature is so high in our politics right now. What do you think needs to change in that regard?
Well, we obviously need to have more mental health. We probably need to reevaluate the security detail. There's, of course, when you're president, the details is much stronger force than it is when you're, just a challenger. I'm actually going to call today for RFK to have a security detail. He has none. We need to protect that man. He's just as vulnerable as probably more vulnerable with no security detail than anyone. And he is running for president. There's some people that would like to see him out of it. So I'm calling on the Biden administration to immediately give him some security, surround him with a good security detail also.
I mean, breathing a sigh of relief today that, obviously we had one person killed, but that this wasn't an even bigger tragedy.
It could have been a lot worse. That's for sure. I mean, I'm going to ask you listeners to pray for our nation, pray for the recovery of President Trump, pray for those victims that are still in the hospital, and pray for the 2 families who lost loved ones, including the assassin's family. It's got to be hard on them and go through this. So, keep everyone in your prayers, please.
All right, Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller, thanks so much for taking some time. We're glad you're doing okay.
Thank you, sir. Bet.
All right, have a good afternoon.
You too, sir. Thank you.